All right, here goes nothing. Focus, Mr. Strader, focus. Oh. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mr. Strader again. Today we are going to be going over the art of how to juggle. Now, before we start, quick disclaimer on this. I am not great at juggling. However, I am going to do my best to teach you the skills that you will need to hopefully become a lot better than I am at this. Your I can statement for juggling, since this is more of a skills-based video today, is that I can juggle at least one object while keeping it off of the floor today. Now, most of you are going to be able to do more than one object, which is great, okay? I'm hopefully going to give you some tips and pointers as to how to start off small, though, and then increase your difficulty as we go through this video. Okay, so before we do anything, before we actually get you guys juggling a little bit, let's talk about the importance of selecting a good object for this. So here's what you need to think about when selecting an object for juggling. You want to have something that at first at least is going to be a little bit easier to handle. Okay, so something that maybe will float in the air a little bit would probably help you out. Now, if you've done this before, you can start with a heavier object. Say maybe if you have like a small rubber ball around the house or anything like that. But we're going to start off small today and then kind of increase our difficulty as we go through this. So one thing that I really like about juggling, beyond the fact that you're going to be using a lot of hand-eye coordination today, is the fact that you can find a lot of different objects that you can actually juggle with around your home. Now here's where the different levels of difficulty kind of come into play. So for example, if I was to select something that's going to float in the air a little bit easier for my object to juggle with, that's going to make it a little bit easier, right? Because it's going to hang in the air and make it a little bit easier to catch. So something like if you have tissues laying around your house, this might be an easier object to start with, okay? Something like, say, a rubber ball, smaller rubber ball, this would be a little bit harder. You can kind of pick and choose where you want to start with this today. Okay, so once you've selected whatever object it is that you want to use, here's a couple of things that I want you to think about when you go to juggle, okay? First, we're going to be taking whatever object that is. So I'm going to use a ball for myself, okay? But again, you can use anything that you want. Now I'm going to stand back a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. Your hands, you want to place, because we are eventually going to be using both of them, so you want both of them placed just above where your waist is, okay? Now when you go to toss, you're trying to toss your object so it goes right around where your eye level would be. Maybe a little bit higher is okay too, but you don't want it way up in the air so it's so high up that it makes it harder to catch. The other thing that you want to do when you're juggling, keep the ball or whatever object it is that you're using closer to your body. When we start to add in extra items, so we're going to be adding in 2 additional items, when we get to that point, you're going to find that if you start to toss way out in front of you like this, you're going to have to chase after, which just makes it harder, okay? So when you go do this today, remember, you want to keep the objects closer to your body, not way out in front. Okay, so here's what we're going to do for a warm-up, and you can do this in either hand that you want. I want you to take whatever object it is that you have, place it in whatever hand you choose to, okay? And you're going to toss it so it's right around your eye level or maybe just a little bit higher, and try to catch it in your other hand. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. And then when you catch it, toss it back over. Okay, and you're just going back and forth with one object, trying to see how many times you could do this in a row. And if it hits the ground, not a big deal, just pick it back up and keep trying to toss it back and forth. Okay, a couple things I want you to focus on. First, again, ball height. Okay, so make sure it's not way above your head, right around your eye level is a good spot for it. And make sure that the ball is staying close to your body, so you're not tossing it like way out here and trying to reach out to grab it, okay? So this is going to be our warm-up, and if you're having trouble with the object that you're using right now, what I want you to do is go find something that would make it easier, okay? So something that's maybe a little bit bigger. So for example, this is really small. A bigger object might make it a little bit easier for me to catch, or something that's going to hang in the air a little bit longer. So like I said, most people would have tissues at their house. If you can find a tissue paper that's going to hang in the air and make it a little bit easier to catch, okay? Let's move on to the next step when you're ready to go. Okay, so now if you feel like you've gotten the hang of tossing back and forth with one object from one hand to the next step is going to be adding in a second object. Now here's where things get a little bit trickier, okay? you're going to start with one ball in each hand, and the cues that we're going to use to do this, you're going to use what's called toss, toss, catch, catch. Okay, so what that is you're going to take your object, start one hand over the other, so you're going to alternate. One hand would toss, and then the second hand's going to scoop underneath that first one a little bit and toss up, and then what you're doing is trying to catch and catch with the other hand. So it's toss, toss, catch, catch. But the balls that end up going across should end up in the opposite hand from the one that you tossed in. So right now, this blue ball, when I toss it up, I should end up catching it with this hand, okay? The green ball here, when I toss it up, I should end up catching it with this hand. Now I'm going to start with this hand first to toss, and then I'm going to follow that up with my second hand to toss. And remember, you're trying to toss a little bit across your body now so your other hand can catch that object, okay? So the cues again, toss, toss, catch, catch. It's going to look like this. Toss, toss, catch, catch. Okay, I'll show you again. Toss, toss, catch, catch. Now, if you have two of another object that would make it easier for you, go grab that object now if you're struggling with the objects that you have, okay? The goal here is to find whatever object works best for you. Stick with that for now, and then once you get that down, if you feel like you got the hang of it, then you can upgrade to something a little bit more difficult, okay? So again, toss, toss, catch, catch. Keep this going until you feel that you are ready for the next step, okay? Now again, I'm still focusing on keeping the ball close to my body, trying to keep the height at or around eye level, okay? When you're ready, let's move on to the next step. Okay, not gonna lie, this is where things get a little trickier. Okay, so if you're not ready for this step, that's okay. Stick with the first two steps that I showed you. So either stick with one object or you can try the two. Totally up to you. Now, when we go to add in a third object, that's what we're going to do here in a minute. You're going to end up starting with two objects in one hand and then one object in another hand. Okay, now here's my advice. Whatever hand is your dominant hand. So for most people, that would be the hand that you're going to throw with. If you were to pick up an object and throw something, that's going to be your dominant hand, whatever hand you choose to throw with, okay? I would stick the two objects in that dominant hand. So whatever hand that is for you, I don't know what that is, but stick those two objects there because that's going to be the hand that you have to start tossing with first, okay? Now, your offhand's only going to have one. That hand is going to follow up behind. Now the pattern that we're going to use is almost like a figure 8 pattern, okay? So it's going to be a toss, toss, catch, catch still, but now we're adding in another ball, so now it's almost like in a cycle. Okay, so you have to continue the cycle around. What I would do to start is try to just get one cycle in first. And then if you could do one cycle, try to get up to 2 cycles and then 3. And then once you're at that point, you're trying to see how many times in a row you can get all the balls to move around. Okay, now I'm going to do one cycle to start just so I can show you guys what it would look like. And then I'll show you multiple cycles all put together. And again, that's kind of your end goal for today if you can do that. Some of you maybe are better than you know, what I'm going to show you here. So if you can do more than this, by all means, go for it. It's just that this is where you know, my abilities kind of end is with 3. But I can at least show you this much for today. Okay, so I'm going to show you one cycle to start. And then I'll show you multiple cycles all put together. Okay, so again, I'm going to start tossing first with the hand that has the 2 objects. I'm only going to toss one object at a time. Second object will come from my other hand, and then that last object would be tossed from the hand that had the 2 to start. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Okay, and now you can see green ball is in my right hand. The 2 balls that were in my right now are in my left. Okay, so that's one cycle. Okay, so now I'm going to make the attempt to see how many cycles I can do in a row. The problem with this is, again, juggling really isn't my strong suit, so I will do my best to show you this. I should be able to get at least a couple cycles in though before things fall apart, okay? So this would look like this. Here we go. Okay, that's all I got. All right, guys, so I hope you had some fun juggling with me today. that's it for today. I do have some more videos planned for next week, so keep an eye out for those. That's all for today, guys. Don't forget, if you have not submitted a workout video, those are due on May 1st. Please get those into me before next Friday if you get a chance. I hope everybody is staying active, safe, and healthy at home. And we'll talk soon, guys. Take care. Have a great day.